Good afternoon, Kaylee. Good afternoon to everybody, actually. Thanks for being here. We got an action-packed day as usual. Let me just share my screen with you. There we are. We're recording, we're presenting, we're doing all the good things that we're supposed to be doing. All right, so as hopefully you're aware of, we're doing the quiz today. 40 of the hardest questions I've ever written. No, just kidding. Then we're going to talk about teacher etiquette. Since we're on this digital citizenship kind of swing right now, we're going to talk about digital citizenship, and then we're going to have an opportunity to work in Google Classroom as the teacher. You've probably got lots of experience, obviously, of working in Google Classroom as a student. But what does it look like on kind of like my side of things, or your other teachers that have used it in the past, perhaps? Then, looking, depending on time, we will talk about this First Nations Métis Inuit slideshow. I do it as, it's kind of more just of an activity, but where I think it really helps some of you is if you're doing your e-portfolio or a portfolio of any kind, and you're talking about, okay, under TQS competency number 5, what do I have under there to show my competencies around First Nations, Métis, and Inuit stuff? Often, a lot of you will say, I don't have anything, right? So the slideshow gives you at least a start. It gives you at least one thing to have in there. And we'll talk about that more when we get there. And then again, because we have a bit of a marathon class of 3 hours, I think we'll have time to start graphic organizers and do some notes and then talk about those. But we'll just see how it all goes. Okay, so you'll have 30 minutes to write the quiz. If you're done early, just stick around, do your own thing. Don't forget the quiz. The link will come to you via email. And you will have 30 minutes. So again, set a timer on your, your phone or your watch, or however you set your timers, so that you don't run over time. Because again, it closes automatically at the end of 30 minutes. If you do not submit, unfortunately, you get a goose egg. Okay, which means a 0. All right. I just want to do one more check here on people, because I think we're missing just a couple of people here. Okay, that person's not here. That person's not here. And who else don't I have on this list? Just 2 people? Oh, and one other one. Sorry. Just check here. All right. All right, just 3 people missing. Okay, so here we go. Just next. Let me just add just one thing in here. All right. So just to remind you that it's not an open book test. It's not a partner, me and my partner test. It's just I want to know what you know. And then we go from there. Okay, so let me just make sure everything looks good there. Let me just send a test email to my Gmail account just to make sure it comes through. Yep, there it is. Okay. All right. So again, it's like, where are you? Here. Just remember, you need to have your camera on during the test, and make sure you don't run out of battery. Make sure you're plugged in, all that jazz. It is roughly 1:05 now, so about 1:35 is when around that is when I'm expecting most people to be done. Okay, and if the link for the test is not in your email in the next 2 to 5 minutes, or even 60 seconds, refresh your window, all that jazz. Okay, so there they go. Okay, the emails are sent. At least a couple people in the chat, just let me know that you've got it, okay? Let's move on to teacher etiquette. But before I do that, do any of you have questions, comments, or anything else on your mind? No, everybody's good? Okay. So the teacher etiquette, there really is no notes. So we've done basically all the notes that we need to do for like digital citizenship stuff. But let's just take a look at the teacher etiquette assignment. And where the heck did that end up? Right here. So it's under week 9. And so I'm just going to open it up here for us. I'll just open it up in a bit of a bigger window. There we go. So there's the actual assignment. and the checklist and a rubric kind of all in one on this for this assignment. So, all right, let me make it bigger. And please feel free to open up your own version of it. So there's some stuff for you to read through here, but basically what we're getting at with this assignment is that as a professional, you have to be mindful and you have to be professional all the time. And you have to be mindful who your audience is, right? So just, think about your sort of day-to-day interactions with people in general. Like the way that you would communicate, via either, a text message or an email or some kind of electronic communication with your friends would be, you do that one way. And then your parents would be a different way. And even from your parents to, let's say, your grandparents would be different. And then, you can pick any range of family members you want on there. The way that you communicate with me, or when you're in the school as a teacher, the way you communicate with your colleagues or your best teaching buddy across the hall, or your admin, right? Or the superintendent or a board member, right? The way that you communicate with all of those different people is different. But regardless of what group of people we're talking about, we need to communicate in a appropriate manner for them, right? So there is in this assignment, there's a couple things to do to check the Internet Time Machine out there, to read this little article. Now, this article is a little bit, I don't know, I guess like out of date, but still the message that it has is viable for us now as teachers. And basically what it says in there is basically whether it's an email or a social media or a blog or whatever, there's different ways that we communicate. But again, still the same thing being is that we are bound to be professional and treat everybody with dignity and respect. Okay. So the assignment in itself is a top 10 list. Okay. And of the do's and don'ts of professional communication in the digital world. Okay. So we're gonna have a Google drawing. We'll do that in a second. We're going to have our do's and don'ts, and each do and don't is going to have like an explanation that goes with it and an example. So you're going to say, so for example, you're going to say, I'll give you the example. You tell me an example. So a don't is don't, when writing an email, don't, or actually a text message or anything, don't type in all capital letters. Why? Nobody knows? Oh, okay, there we go. Yes, Chloe, Melissa, yeah, the etiquette around typing messages to people is if you type in all caps, it's like you're yelling at them, right? So, and again, so much gets lost in the translation in a remind message, an email message, or an email versus us talking even like this, right? Where there's body language, there's voice inflections and changes in my voice and all of those kinds of things. So something that might be said in a text message or an email can be very easily confused or misconstrued for something else that it is. And so when you're especially when you're talking with parents, you have to be very, very careful how you word things and how you say things and how you type things and all of that. Because again, in a text-based type of message, there's lots of room for a misinterpretation of what you're saying. Okay, so that would just be an example of one of the top 10 like don'ts. Don't type in all caps, right? And or an example, a reason why you wouldn't do that. Okay, so then overall, you should basically have a poster-sized a document. We'll do this, and so we'll do this in a second. So again, it needs to be appealing. So again, think of it something that you post up maybe in the staff room. Maybe you're the ATA rep, which you probably end up going to be anyways. As beginning teachers, always get that job. And I don't know, it's maybe Digital Citizenship Week, and you're going to put this poster up in the staff room. Okay, and of course, like all of the things that we're making, we want complementary colors, we want nice pictures, we want good contrast, all of that stuff. So, and just as a little remember, this is not for etiquette for students. It's etiquette for you as a teacher. So you should focus on like adult type of stuff. Okay. Now there are some articles or links here about this kind of idea right down below here. And of course, in Google Classroom, if I just get out of here for 1 second, oh, that's all the readings that there are for that. Okay. So and then the rubric it goes like this. I'll make it bigger too here. Right. Is we've got ourselves a little bit of a checklist. So let's open up a new Google drawing right now. Okay. And then that way, I just want to see, where did I put that one from this morning? Oh, there we go. I was going to move that for 1 sec. All right. So in my demo files, so remember with the Google drawing, you have to go under the new menu. There is no Google drawing under the tic-tac-toe board or the app launcher. There isn't. Don't ask me why, I'm not sure. So you have to go to Drive and you have to go to New and you have to go More Google Drawings. Okay, you should all know that by now. And I'll just say, yep. All right, so this is going to be a poster again. So we've just finished up infographics, so it's a nice kind of a segue into this. We've done an infographic on digital citizenship itself. So this should be a no-brainer for us, really. So let's give it a appropriate title of teacher is a digital etiquette. And I'm just going to put section Z on there just so I can keep track of where I am with all my different classes. Okay, so we've got that on there. Let's share it so that anybody with the link can view. So one of the other things with this, again, we're sharing everything with the link so everybody can be a viewer. Because if we're going to use any of these things in our e-portfolios, or we're going to share them in any other electronic way, if you don't share them with anyone with the link as a viewer, then they're not going to be able to see them, right? So we want to do that. Also, if we're sort of talking about e-portfolios for a second, this is a great example to go under TQS number 1, which is all about communicating and all of that kind of stuff. So if you are building an e-portfolio or have built an e-portfolio and you still want to add some artifacts to it, this is a great one for communication, okay? Which is TQS number 1. And then the last thing we're going to do, so we got a name, a title, we got it shared properly. Let's just go to page setup under file, okay? And let's do a custom size, okay? And, you know, it really doesn't matter to me whether it is in portrait or in landscape. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to do mine in landscape. So if you're going to do it in landscape, which is, you know, sideways, it's 17 by 11. If you're going to do it in portrait, just flip those numbers around and you've got it that way. Okay. I'm going to do mine in landscape. So I'm just going to say apply. Of course, we all know nothing miraculous happens. Just as a quick review, I don't know if this part, the checkerboard part of your drawing is called what again? What's the official name for that? Give you a hint. Starts with a C. Nice. Okay, it is indeed the canvas. So remember, we want to stay inside the canvas or inside these lines because anything either over it or touching, you may not print properly. Okay. All right. Here's how in my brain, I would lay this out. You do not have to do it this way, but here's what I would do. First of all, I'm going to put a title on there. So I'm going to draw a text box. Remember, this is a fairly large piece of, you know, document, right? So I'm just going to call this teacher. Here, I'll make it bigger too so you can see it. I'm going to change my font right now to, I don't know, let's go 72 so you can see. I'm going to say it's teacher etiquette. You could have, as long as you have a title, something like this or whatever, you can use whatever. Teacher etiquette in a digital world. Oops, world. Oops. Okay, something like that. Okay. Now, if we're talking about design, and again, this is a really big piece of paper, so I'm just going to see if I can go. If I do 96, I can stretch to 96. I think I'm going to go with that. Again, based on the font you choose, that determines the size. Now, as far as a design principle goes, I'm also going to go use my center alignment tool right here and go center, center. So what I'm doing is I'm centering it horizontally and I'm centering it vertically. Okay, so from left to right and top to bottom. And then the other thing that I want to do is, and actually this works out pretty good, but if let's say if you use a smaller font, oops, a smaller font, your text box, the general rule is your text box should be no bigger than the text that's inside it. Okay, now because I use a 96-point font on mine, that basically filled up the entire box. So I didn't really have to worry about that rule too much. But just be mindful of that. And then remember that we can use our arrow keys to move things around. And remember, it doesn't matter if the blue lines are over the edge of the canvas. All we have to worry about is the text itself. So even though my blue box is hanging over the top edge, my text is inside that, I'm good to go. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to bump it up as high as I can to give myself more room down here to do the do's and don'ts. Now, the other thing I'm going to do with this text box is I'm just going to make sure it's centered using that red line that's down the middle. So I'm just going to move it a little bit to make sure it's centered. Now, it is right here at 8.5, and I know it's really hard for you to see on my ruler, but right here it's 8.5. So I'm going to be mindful of that. And how I'm going to lay this out is the left-hand side is going to be the do's. The right-hand side is going to be the don'ts. And now, of course, you could have you could add a text box. You could add individual, shape boxes. I think maybe, in my opinion, the best way potentially to do this is to go insert a table. And I'm going to make it a 10 table. And I am going to, oops, let's delete that for a second. I'm going to click on my table. I'm going to just move it over here a little bit, like about so. And then remember that 8.5 mark was the center of the page. I'm just going to move it over 1/2 inch. So mine goes from the if you're in the landscape mode, mine is, I've kind of got it cozied up there to the edge, and it goes, if you've got your ruler showing, it's up to the 8-inch mark. If you don't have your ruler showing, remember, you can go under view and go show ruler, and it'll help you out a little bit. Okay. Now, I'm just going to move it down a tiny bit just because the Q and the is overlapping there, about like so, I guess. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put in do's as a text, in text in there. I'm going to change my font, and of course, I'm going to make it bigger. It's too big, maybe 48 point. Okay, and if you want to center it, you can. If you don't want to center it, I'm going to leave it for now just to see. And then since I've got that set up this way, here's what I'm going to do. Who remembers how I can make another one of these tables, but not going copy paste? Mr. Ruan, what can I do for you? Are you there? I can't hear you. If you're talking, I can't hear you. Well, if you've got the ruler up there, do you have the rule? Is there a ruler at the top and the side of your page? Yes. And you've got no numbers? Weird. Good question. Not sure. Anybody know? Anybody want to help me out here? Oh, maybe go. Nope, that's not it. I don't want to do that. You don't have those. How do you know what? Right now you got me stumped. I'm not sure. just kind of eyeball it, and we'll see if we can figure it out as we go, or maybe somebody else will be smart and figure it out. Anyways, to get back to my original question, how do we make another one of these charts by not going copy paste? Does anybody remember? No wonder I have numbers. That's weird. That is really weird. I don't know. Okay, hold on. And we'll figure it out. Okay. No one still answered my question. Turn it off and on again. Okay, try that again. Thank you, Graham. What about making another chart? Are you zoomed in? When I zoomed out, I lose the numbers. Yeah, that might have. Yeah. So I've got my zoom is to fit. Okay. All right. So I've asked the question 3 times. No one's given me an answer. So the answer is this, is if you don't use copy and paste, how do you make another one of these? Well, in Google Drawing and in Google Slides, thank you, Chloe, you can use Command or Control D. And what that does is it is duplicate. So here's what I'm going to do, because I've got my rulers. Remember, I left, there's 8.5, and I left a little ½ inch on either side of that 8.5 mark. That gives me pretty much a perfect kind of table. Yeah, I could maybe drag it over a tiny bit on each side just to close that gap a little bit. But other than that, I'm good there for now. Okay, now, all you ruler people, did you get your problem figured out? No. Okay, well, I think, oops, how do you spell don'ts? I guess it's like that without the apostrophe there. Try to make sure that your zoom is to fit. So it says fit, and you know how we could solve this problem? Super duper easy. Somebody Google, how do I get the numbers to show up on my ruler in a Google drawing? Someone will find the answer to that. Okay. And then under do's, let me just give you an example here. I'm going to make it bigger again too. Here, I got it. So I'll make that bigger here too. I'm going to go with the same font, and let's go 36. There. Okay. So I'm going to give you a sample rule. Be mindful of who your audience is. Okay. Now remember back on the checklist and rubric that you need to make sure that you give it an explanation or an example. So on mine here, be mindful of who your audience is. You know, use language that is appropriate for the age of the people you're communicating with. Okay, something like that. Appropriate. There we go. So something like that. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop. Oops, I'm just going to pop that over by indenting. Did anybody solve our number problem yet on the rulers? Jeff, go for it.
So I've kind of got a split screen setup where Google Meet is on half and my drawing is on the other half. When it's set up like that, there's no numbers on the ruler. But as soon as you like maximize the drawing so it's
fills the screen.
It's full screen, then the numbers show up.
I zoomed in and it fixed it. All right, so we got a couple suggestions there. Sounds good. I am going to make that a little bit smaller. I'm going to go with a 30 point. Actually, yeah. Okay, so there is a do, potentially. Now, for don'ts, we already had one, right? Don't type in all capital letters. Don't type in all capital letters. Okay, period. Why do we not want to do that? Here, I guess I'll make it bigger. Just let me indent that for a sec. There we go. oregano, and it was 30 point. There we go. Don't type in all capital letters, caps, typing in all caps means you're yelling. Okay. So there's an example, or there's an example for that one. I think I'm gonna make this 30.2. There we go. Okay, so there's an example of one do and one don't. Now you need to come up with 5 more, or a total of five on each side. If you've got extra room, and you may or may not have extra room, make sure you fill it up and don't leave it blank. Okay, and also if you have more rows or rows that you don't need, you can right click and you can just go delete rows, how many ever you don't need. Okay, now again, 5 and 5 is the bare minimum. So don't be afraid to put more, especially if you can find more, share them, right? That will help us all in the long run. Okay, that pretty much is this assignment. There is really not much else to do. Just make sure that you, and I'm going to mention this only because people are still not either submitting a rubric or a checklist at all for their assignment, or they're submitting them, but they're not filling them in. And remember, the rule is you got to submit a completed rubric or a checklist, or in the case of this assignment, both a checklist and a rubric. Okay, so please make sure that you submit them completed. Okay, filled in, checked off, highlighted, whatever the case may be. Now, before we switch gears from this assignment, questions other than the can't find my numbers on my ruler. Everybody's good? It's a pretty straightforward assignment, right? Now, again, you can make it pretty. One of the other things you could do is you can right click on your canvas in the background, and you can change your background color. A gradient, if you haven't used a gradient yet, a gradient might be a nice way to go, but just be mindful of your contrast in contrasting colors. Okay. All right. So everybody's good as far as questions go. If we go to Google Classroom, this is due March 15th, which is a week from today. So, so just be mindful of that. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to do some Google Classroom stuff. Hey, did we do the QR code last day? Yeah, we did. Okay. Yeah, we did. Okay, perfect. All right. So in order to do the Google Classroom assignment, what we need to do is we need to actually not be in our RD Poly EDU accounts. In the education, Google for Education world, you can't be a teacher and a student at the same time. Okay. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to close this one up. What we're going to do in order to avoid confusion, okay? Because maybe you haven't had this problem, but lots of students have the problem of which account am I in, right? Am I in my Polytech, my Poly EDU? Am I in my regular Gmail? Like, what account am I in when I'm in Google? So what we're going to do to alleviate that problem is, if you are in, it doesn't matter what kind of computer you're using, if you're using Google Chrome, what you can do is you can either go File, New Incognito window up here, or you can go to the 3 little dots beside your picture up here in the top right-hand corner and go New Incognito window. If you are using Safari browser, you can go, and I'm not, but you can go under File, and the second choice down on the Safari browser is a new private window. Same idea as an incognito window. And if any of you PC users out there is using Microsoft browser, another browser, just see where you can find a private or sort of incognito window. Okay. In Google Chrome, if you go and create a new incognito window, it comes up as a black window, which tells you you've gone incognito. Now, there's a whole bunch of different things why you want to do this. One of them is that you can see here your browsing history, cookies, and all that information that you enter in forms doesn't get saved. Okay. So it can be beneficial that way. Also, it blocks the sort of cookies. If you're not familiar with cookies, other than the kind you eat, cookies are what websites exchange, and it's information basically about you. Okay, so you can alleviate that. And another place to do this, if you're looking for a hotel room or you're trying to book a flight, it's actually better to do it in an incognito window, because the more websites that you go to when you're looking for like a flight or a hotel room or something like that, and it can actually impact the price of what you're looking for, and impact it in a way that actually the price goes up. So if you're ever looking for a flight or a hotel room or maybe concert tickets or something like that, a really good way to do it is in an incognito window, because then it doesn't track your cookies and your browsing history and things like that, so that it can't manipulate the prices against you. Anyways, we're going to use an incognito window, and all we're going to do up here in the Omni bar, the URL bar, is just type in mail.google.com, and I just want you to log into your regular Gmail. So whatever your regular Gmail is, that's all I want you to log into. And I am just going to log into this Gmail account. I just want to check one thing before I do that. I want to close that and close that. I think that's the one I gave you, isn't it? RDC.demo. Yeah. Okay. So let me just adjust the size of that window a little bit. There we go. So you're going to log into your regular Gmail account. Okay. Perfect. Okay. All right. Yes, your personal one, Melissa. Yeah. Is everybody okay? All right. If everybody's okay, then right up here is your little tic-tac-toe board again. And what I want you to do is I want you to click it, and I want you to find Google Classroom. Now mine is up here only because you can move these around, right? So just find Google Classroom and click on it. And it'll open up a new tab with Google Classroom. Now, I've got other classes in here, so don't worry about that. Yours will be blank, okay? Unless, of course, you've used Google Classroom in your regular Gmail account before, okay? But regardless of what is here, it does not matter. What you are interested in is going up to the plus sign. And you're going to say, now, as a student, you all know how to join a class. But this time around, we're going to create a class. So let's go create a class. And it just says here that you're just going to, again, remember digital citizenship. You're going to behave yourself and all that jazz. And then you're just going to say continue. So that is an example of an acceptable use kind of policy kind of thing. Now here, I'm going to get you to type some information in. As you progress through this assignment, if you're like, I want to change it, or I want to make some changes to my class name or something like that, you can always do, edit this stuff after. So here's what I'd like you to do. Pick a grade, topic, or subject that you'd like to teach. So I'm just going to go with, I went with Bio 30 this morning. I am going to go with, how about social studies? I don't know. 8. I don't know. Social 8 sucks. I'm going to go with social studies 6. Okay. Under a section, we're going to cheat a little bit. We're going to put in our names. Okay. You can either put in your first name, last name, or you can put in your teacher name if you want. Okay. Okay. Under subject, I am just going to put social studies again. Again, you can change this after. And under room, I'm just whatever, room 214. I just make a number up. Doesn't matter. Okay. Or if you can remember your old bio or whatever class you're doing number, then put that in. Okay. And then once you've got these fields filled in, just click create. It takes a few seconds for it to kind of kick into gear. And then it'll launch your classroom as the teacher. Ron, it's up here. If you go to classes, to create a class, it's right here, the plus button. Create a class. If you can only join a class, that means that you are in the wrong account somehow. Remember, you got to be in your regular plain old Gmail class. Okay. All right. So Social Studies 6. Now, one of the very first things that's on the checklist of this assignment is to change this banner. Okay. Now, even if you like the banner, and I love this banner because it's orange and it really does pertain to social studies, we're going to click Customize. And under this banner, you can upload a photo or you can select the theme. Easy peasy part for this assignment is just select the theme, upload a photo. Maybe later on you want to put a picture of a world map, or maybe you want to put a class photo up there, or of all the students, like however you want, right? For this assignment, we're just going to go select theme. And then it gives us some choices. So there's just general themes, English and history, right? Which hence my orange one, right? Math and science, and you can go on all across. So you, again, based on the class subject kind of thing that you are going to make this classroom, Google Classroom for, choose the appropriate one. I'm going to cheat and just, I'm going to keep my orange one because I like that one. Okay. And so remember also when you select the theme, it also will impact the color of things within your classroom. Okay. So there is my banner, changed banner. It should say your subject and grade kind of right here, and it also should have your name. So how that helps me actually is when I go here, go to classes, it is much easier for me to look up your names if they're there. And so it really actually benefits me, but it also benefits your students so they know they're in the right place, right? Okay, so let's just navigate around here because this is going to be, some of this is going to be new for you, right? So you already know that if you come up to the little hamburger stack here, you can go to all of your different classes that you've got. Ones that, now you can see here, ones that you're teaching in and ones that you might be enrolled in. Okay. Now I will be enrolled in all of your classes here in a minute. Okay. So, and then of course it has Social Studies 6 and that kind of stuff here. Whenever you click this thing here, which you probably should know, it always takes you back to the class. So if I'm in class work and I click this, it takes me back to the stream. Okay. And we'll talk about all these elements in a second. Classwork, except for you have a new button. And that button allows you to create assignments, quiz assignments, questions, material, which material is stuff like PDFs to read or pictures to view or watch a movie, those kinds of things. That's material, okay? And then we'll create topics in a second. So you've got a new create button. The other thing that you should have, and just so that you're aware of, anything that you will create with a due date will appear in your own Google Calendar, right? Just like for our class, let me just scooch my Google Calendar over here for a sec, right? And I know it's really small, but all these little blue lines are assignments, all the green ones are assignments, and all the black ones are assignments. So these are from all my different EDUC1302 classes. So whenever you create an assignment with a due date, it shows up in your Google Calendar, okay? So, and then the other thing that you should be aware of, and I think you probably are, is that as soon as you create a classroom or join a classroom, you get a classroom folder in your Google Drive. Here, let me just bring up my drive. Right? Oh, I'm in the wrong one here. My bad. And so if I go to Drive, right now you'll see that it creates a classroom folder. Okay. And then all of your classroom stuff, all the stuff that goes with that classroom gets saved into this folder. So it's kind of a one-stop shopping, so you know where everything goes. Okay. All right. So close that up. And then of course, people is similar to what you see as a student, but this is where you're going to add people. Okay. So first of all, you should, under teachers, you should see your own name or whatever your Gmail account is. Okay. There's a little plus person up here. You can invite other teachers. So for instance, if we were all teaching grade 1 and we were teaching in the same school, we might want to share our Google Classrooms so that we can each see what we're doing and we can borrow things from one another, right? If you're a beginning teacher, your admin might want to check out your Google Classroom, so you would invite them through the invite teachers button. Okay, now with students, there are a couple ways to invite students. One is to hit the plus button, and you can all do this right now. And in the assignment, let me just go back to the assignment. Where is it? Here, hold on here. I'm just going to throw this in our chat. That's the address I'd like you to add as my student. So you can just type in my name directly, and it will invite me as a student in your class. And then what you will see is you will see my name and like my name there, and it will kind of be grayed out because I haven't accepted your invite. So when the first person to type in, "Hey Brad, I added you," and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, Haley, nice work. Okay, so in this account, in my regular Gmail, I guess got to open up an email page here. Just like here. Oh, you stinker! That's not what I want you to do. Right here. Okay. And so there you are. So here's Haley's class invitation. In order for someone to join the class this way by sending them an email, I click on it and then I have to say join. And then it'll have one more screen for me to join. Is that happening? Come on. There we go. And now I am part of Haley's class. And now Haley, in your Google Classroom, under people, you should see your name, but also you should see my name there as a student. And can you just confirm for me that you can see me now? Miss Haley, can you confirm? Am I there? Am I a student? I will be. It's still grayed out. Maybe just refresh your window. It should be okay. Hold on for a sec here. Let me just organize my tabs up here on this screen. I got my inbox. This is my class. Let's close that. And this is Miss Haley's class. No, is this me? Hold on for 1 second. Let me just go to my classes here. Yep, there's my social studies. Yep. Okay, so I'm a student in there now. It shows me announce something to my class. Haley, am I still grayed out? Good now. Good now. Okay, good. Okay, see you there. What else we got here? That was for you, Connor. Go to the top. Okay, Connor, are you good? Okay, we'll wait for Connor to say that. Now.
Yeah, no, I just need. How do I put my name where Miss Himmelspec is?
Oh, so what you can do then here? I'll just have to get out of there for a second here. All right. In your own Google Classroom, what you can do is there's a gear up here, right up here. If you click the gear, then you can add your name in here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and so remember I said when we first did this that if you need to, if you want to change any part of this, all you have to do is go to the gear, and you can change any part of this that you want. Okay. All right. So I'm now a student in her class, and so I will now get her assignments and just like you get all my stuff, I will get all of her stuff. Okay. And of course, I have to be in this account to get that. It doesn't miraculously appear everywhere, right? Okay. So that's under people. And now just on the checklist, you have to have 5 people in your classroom. Okay. And so that's me and then 4 other people. Okay. I don't care who you invite. It can be a classmate. It can be mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, brother, sister, cousin. You just go down the list, friends, whoever. But only invite people that will accept your invitation and that will. Okay, because I get this every single term. Hey, Brad, no one accepted my invitation. Well, then you know what? You invited the wrong people. Miss Kaylee, what do you got?
I'm just curious, are we able to invite our RD Poly accounts, or do we need
No, you have to use
actual people?
regular email addresses.
Okay.
Okay. So if you're going to invite somebody from this class, you'll have to get their or one of their normal kind of regular Gmail addresses. But it could be any address. Doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be Gmail. It could be Hotmail, Shaw, TELUS, whatever. It doesn't matter. You can invite anybody using any email address. Okay. And then the other thing here that is similar but different, right? In our classroom, I've got one up here that says grades. In the Gmail version, it says marks. So you got to remember, my purple one is a Google for Education account, and my black one here is my regular Gmail. And the way that I like to differentiate between the two of them is regular Gmail is like the Wild West. Anything goes. But in a Google for Education account, there are lots of rules that can be applied by either you or the Google administrator. Okay. And so one of the things here that once you get students popping up in here, one thing that you're not going to see, I don't think, and Haley, correct me if I'm wrong, is you're not going to see this. When I go to people for our class, you see how down the middle here it says invite guardians. And this is a really important piece to know. So if you get to a school district and you're like, okay, I got to set up Google Classroom and blah, blah, blah. If you don't have this invite guardians thing there, you need to contact the IT folks at central office or wherever they're housed and ask them to turn that on. Okay. It's kind of you got to turn it on. It's not on automatically kind of setting. And then, so here's the beauty of this is that then you can invite guardians, and then a parent or a guardian never has the ability to say, I didn't know, right? Oh, I didn't know my kid was failing your class. Well, remember at the beginning of the year when I invited you as a guardian, and when you invite a person as a guardian, that person can see how that child is doing, right? Grades, what assignments they have done, what ones they don't have done, all of that kind of stuff. So again, if you're thinking from a sort of, pardon my language, cover your ass kind of point of view, this is excellent, because then you can also, a parent can't say, I didn't know, right? It's also a great one for going back to your portfolio again for under TQS number 1, where if someone says to you, hey, let me pick on somebody here. Hey, Melissa, give me an example of a way that you communicate to parents about their child. And you could say, let me tell you, I use Google Classroom. I invite guardians. I use Remind. But this is a great example of way that you can build that rapport and that communication with parents. So if you're going to use this in your ePortfolio, take a picture of your main screen of your Google Classroom and add it as an artifact to your ePortfolio if you're making one, or even if you've made one, now here's another new artifact you could add. Okay, so anyways, that's in an education account. Unfortunately, in a regular Gmail account, you don't get the invite guardian. Okay, and because anyone in the whole wide world can be a teacher, and anyone in the whole wide world can be a student in your regular Gmail account. Okay, so anyhow, the marks part is you're not going to obviously not going to have anything there because you don't have any assignments or marks or anything like that yet. Okay. All right, let's keep moving over to the gear. So the gear is important, and so we've Connor asked, and we showed him how he could change this stuff up here. Okay, but down below are some important things to consider. Okay, so the way that you invited me via my email is one way to do this, right? The other way, and it might be the way you might actually do it in class, is when you have the kids sitting in their tables or desks or whatever in front of you on day number 1 of September of classes, you can always display the class code, and they can join using the class code. I'm just going to pop out of here for 1 sec. If you go to on your stream page is your class code. So all you would do is make that bigger, and if they're sitting in front of you, they can type in that class code. If you are going to send them all individual emails, you can copy the invitation link, and then that way it'll send them an email link. So I'll just copy that. I'll just paste it. Please don't, you don't have to join it or anything. I'll just show you what it looks like. So then it would be a link like that you would send them an email with, okay? And then once everybody that you know that's supposed to be in your class has joined, you can actually turn off the code, okay? Other thing that I'm going to tell you is that you shouldn't reset your invitation code maybe ever. But here, I'll give you an example because I get this quite often. Is what will happen is a student will email me or send me a remind message saying, Brad, the code doesn't work for me. 99% of the time, maybe 99.85% of the time, it's because that person is in their wrong account. Okay, so when you're in an education setting, they have to be in their education account to join your classroom. So so that's why I don't normally reset the code. Now, if for some reason, I don't know, and it's never actually happened, that they're in the right account and that code's not working for them, then yeah, you can reset it. You can do that, okay? But once everybody's joined, I just turn it off. When you turn it off, then what happens on your stream page, that little tile that was right up here disappears. So I'll just turn it back on for 1 second. Okay, and I'll go back to the stream and you can see the class code tiles there. So that's all that really changes when you turn it off. Okay, but don't turn it off yet. Make sure you invite all your people that you need to do. Again, here's the invitation link. You can copy it directly from here. And then the rest is all just class code stuff. Okay. This is for the stream. In the stream, and I'll just pop out it for a second. What do you want students to be able to do in here? Okay. And you can control that by this drop-down menu. In the checklist for this assignment, it says to switch it to students can only comment. So you might as well do that right now. Okay. And I think what you would do, dependent on the age of your kids or the maturity of your kids, you could decide what they can do in the stream. I don't use the stream for really anything other than posting the Google Meet code. And the other thing that happens in the stream is whenever you make an assignment or a change or whatever, it'll appear in the stream as well. So anyways, for this assignment, just go students can only comment. Okay. And then class work in the stream. What do you want to show? Really, in all honesty, this show condensed notifications is the best one. You don't need any more, and certainly you don't want to hide them. Okay. But this is all you really need to do is turn that one on. Okay. Now show deleted items. To me, in my tiny brain, I can't understand why you'd want to show deleted items. If I delete them, I want them gone. I don't want to still see them. So, I mean, you can toggle that on or off, but I just leave it off because, like I said, if I delete something, I don't want to see it anymore. Okay. All right. You can also do a Meet link, but again, here you can see it's not really available for regular Gmail users. In my education account, you can set that up, but it's not part of this assignment, so don't worry about it. Okay. And then the last part is a really important part, is how are you going to show kids their marks, right? So there's sort of three choices. There's don't show them their overall mark at all. They can see, if they got 10 out of 20 on assignment or 13 out of 15 on assignment, but it won't tell them like they have 81% in the class. It won't tell them that. Okay. So if you say no overall mark, they'll be able to see what marks they got in each individual assignment, but not their, what do they have in the class? Where do I stand in the class kind of mark? Total points. That one just doesn't work. There's a whole bunch of reasons not to use that one. We'll just leave it. And then the other one to use is weighted by category. So in our class, that's exactly what I do. So if I scooch on down here, you can see how I've got this set up, right? So based on the course outline, what each one of these pieces of the class are worth. And then as you start typing those in, so let's say I go weighted by category, okay? And yes, I'm going to show their overall mark here now. And then what you can do is you can add a category. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll just do this just for fun. Assignments are worth 30%. Oops. Are worth 30%. as soon as you type in what it's worth, it also tells you how much you have left of that 100% of the overall class mark. So I'll just go quizzes. 30% here again. Okay. And now it says I have 40% left. I'm going to add one more category, and you can add as many categories as you need. I'm just going to say final exam here, final, or I'll just say exams or tests or something like that. And I'm going to make that, well, I've got 40 left. If I don't use it all, it'll tell me I have some left over. But let's say I made it 50, it would say, oops, you're at -10. You can't use 50%. So I'll just say 40 here. Okay. And then it shows me I've got 0 remaining. So really, as far as the under the gear, those are the things that you can set up under the gear. Okay. And you can set this up any way you want. It's up to you it's your Google Classroom. You're the teacher. You set it up how you want. But once you make changes, you do need to save them up here. Okay. It's one area where it doesn't automatically save. Google automatically saves a lot of things, but it doesn't save that. Okay. So now we've got the whole top little bar all figured out. Okay. Now, really where all the action occurs is under classwork. Again, for me, in our account for this class, I go to people when we have quizzes so I can get all your email addresses. And marks, I don't rarely ever go to marks, okay? Because I just export your marks as a spreadsheet. So, but that's a whole different lesson, okay? Where we're going to do, we're basically everything for this assignment is going to occur, almost everything is under classwork. So let's go there. Okay, actually, hold on. You know what I'm thinking here? It's 2:30-ish right now. Do you want to take a break right now, and then we'll do this next part after? Are we good for that? Break now? Okay, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do a break, and then just a 10-minute break again. So let's just do that as a break. I'm just going to put this up on the screen as the word break. All right, there we go. I'm just going to put in break because I'm going to have to edit this video after, and that just helps me with when I'm editing. Okay. All right. So it is 2:27. Let's come back at 2:40, and then we'll continue with that. And like I say all the time, if you've got any questions, write them down so you don't forget. And I will just mute my mic and my camera, and I'll be back at 2:40 as well. Okay. Thanks, everybody. All right, about 2 more minutes, and then we'll be back officially.
I have a quick question. Sorry, my internet cut out for like 10-15 minutes, and I came back when you were in the middle of going through stuff with this. So I have to invite you as a teacher.
No, invite me as a student.
As a student, okay. But it doesn't let the EDU account.
Yeah, because we're not using that one.
No, I mean like it won't let me send your EDU account an invitation, just the Polytech one.
Yep, no, neither. Nope. This is the account. I'll just put it in the chat.
Okay.
Oh, did it go? That's the account that you're sending it to.
Okay.
Yeah, we all have to use our regular Gmails because you can't be a student and a teacher in the same like school district, let's say.
Yeah, I was trying to figure that out. I was like panicking a little bit.
No worries, it's all good. There's lots of things. There's a lot of little things, tricks to kind of learn about this. But yeah, Google doesn't allow you to be a teacher and a student in the same district for, I don't know, probably 100 different reasons. But
yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. And just in case I missed other stuff, I've never missed any classes. And I know that you record these. Where do the recordings go? The
recordings go into the internet. No, I'm just teasing you here. They're in classwork. And if you scooch, pretty close to the bottom, you'll see class videos.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, you bet. Okay, well, we might as well start. We're back then. Let's say we're back. All right. So classwork. That is where it all happens. Okay. So we've got the create button. And again, if we click the create button, it gives us these options. Okay. Here is, again, these are all just lessons I've learned over the years of using Google Classroom. The first lesson I learned is you need to use topics. If you don't use topics, and the very first time I did a Google Classroom, I'm like, yeah, I don't need topics. Yeah, I did. And by the time you realize that, man, this is like just pandemonium on a screen, it's a pain in the you-know-what to get it all moved around into topics. Okay, so just take some advice from somebody who's done this for a long time. Use topics. Okay, so anyways, for this assignment, you're going to need topics, so let's do them. Let's add, again, what topics you add, it doesn't matter to me. I'm going to go with my assignments, quizzes, tests, because that's how I set up my categories for my grade book. So I'm going to do that, but they don't have to be named the same thing. I mean, I could have final project, and that could still be part of my assignments. It doesn't have to be like a final project category in my grade book, or like in my weightings of my grade book. So, but I'm just, for ease, I'm just going to call them the same thing. So quizzes, I'm going to make that topic, and I'm going to make 3. Okay, assignments, and I'm kind of doing these a little bit kind of out of order because there's some method to my madness here. Assignments. And last topic is just, again, for my classroom, are exams. And I'm going to add that. So once you add those topics using the create button, you'll see that they appear here, like, okay, right? But they also appear over here, okay? So if you've got, like in our class, if you've got lots of topics, then sometimes it's easier to navigate using this sort of little side panel here than it is to just, scroll in the kind of the main area of the screen, okay? But that's just a little nice to know thing, okay? Now, the other thing that is good to know is you can move these around. So like I said, I don't know, I didn't put them in any particular order, but I do want assignments to come first. Then I want quizzes, and then I want exams. And I'm just moving them by clicking them on the kind of like, clicking the, just like in that little title kind of area, and you can just click, hold, and drag them, okay? And you can do that with anything. It is a huge pain in the butt when, like today, oh, I didn't do that. I'll show you why the pain in the butt. There is no way to say, okay, I want that right at the top here. Here's what you got to do. Now, I moved it down here. Now I need to move it back because it's closer to the end of the term. You got to hold it up here like this. And I might as well just do this for you because I need to do it anyways. And I just got to keep waiting and scrolling, and it's kind of really a pain in the butt. It's actually much faster and much easier to do it using the app on your phone. But I'm just going to show you that you can drag stuff. Now, like I said, I mean, it's not the end of the world. It's not like, oh my goodness, like this takes an hour. It takes, I don't know, maybe a minute to do, but it's still inconvenient. So like I said, you can drag and drop anything around, but it's sort of painful. And there is no quick and sort of dirty way to do it. You just got to do it this kind of long-handed, winded, time-consuming way. And there we go. And now week 13 is in the right spot for actually our real class. Okay, so like I said, there's sometimes, once you do this a few times, you're going to get exactly how you want it. And actually, once you do it a few times, I'll just show you what else you can do. So under my classes here, right, I am not going to rebuild this entire Google Classroom. So what you can do, especially if you're doing the same class maybe year after year after year, is you just go here and go copy class, and it copies everything. Right now, there's some tweaking that little bit of tweaking that needs to get done, but you don't have to build a brand new classroom like every semester or every year or whatever. You can just copy it from year to year to year, tweak it however you want to tweak it, and you're good to go. Okay. All right. So we got topics. Oh, one thing I want to do here. I just want to bring up the checklist for this assignment. Where is it here? There, classroom as a teacher. There's our checklist. I'm just going to make that a little bit bigger so that we can see. All right, so let's just go through the checklist quickly here. Using Google Classroom, done. Create a class, done. Subject, grade, first name, last name, picture of yourself. So in whatever Gmail account, your gmail.com account you're using, you need to have a picture, okay? Not just a letter B, A, B, C, whatever you've got there. You need to have a picture. Again, professional, picture, you, okay? All right, so so we got that. Oh, and if you're not sure how to change picture, just click up where right here and go click on the little camera and you can change picture. Okay. All right. Right here. Class banner, we've changed that. We've done that. Invite 4 students. You've invited me. Plus, again, remember, you need 4 other people. And again, 4 other people that are going to accept your invitation. Now, they do not have to do any of the assignments or work that you're going to make in here. They don't have to do any. You can assign grades randomly. Okay. I mean, just think of it from my point of view as in our real class is if someone doesn't do the assignment, I just give them a 0, right? I could quite literally give you any mark I want, right? So you can just do the same thing. You can just kind of assign marks to people however you want in your classroom. But tell the people that you're inviting, you don't have to do any of the work. And the other thing, that you need to be careful of, and we might as well talk about this. Okay, actually, somebody remind me. Actually, when we get to an assignment where we can add private comments, somebody remind me, say, Brad, tell the story about private comments. Okay, it'll make you laugh. All right. So, okay. So, so 3 course topics, check. They need to be grade and subject appropriate. I mean, for me, test quizzes and assignments is about as generic as you can get, right? Tag all assignments. Okay, we'll talk about tagging them in a bit. Okay, set up your info about the room number. We've done that. Okay, you need to sort your students by first name. I'll just show you how to do that in our classroom. Once you have kids or people in your classroom, then you just come over here and go sort by last name or sort by first name. And you can see in our class, I've got us sorted by first names. Okay, so you'll need to do that. Where did I end off here? Oh yeah, turn off the class code. I showed you how to do that. Switch commenting to students can only comment. We've done that. Put 3 announcements in the stream. So in our pretend class here, if we go to the stream, right? I mean, it could be anything, right? Don't forget to bring your swimming stuff on Friday. Right? Post. Done. Now you only have 2 more to go. Okay. So that's kind of what that's getting at. And again, I don't typically use the stream for stuff like that. And I'll show you why in our class. So if I go to the stream, if you're like, oh, what did Brad say at the beginning of term about whatever, the final exam? If you have to scroll through the stream, it can be a long search. And the thing that blows my mind is, what's Google famous for? Their search engine. There's no way to search in Google Classroom for anything, which kind of blows my mind, and I don't know why, but you can't. So like I said, I don't typically use the stream for, well, really too many things. Okay. Again, by default, when you create an assignment with a due date or something like that, it automatically gets posted to your stream. And of course, the only other thing that I really do is I post the Meet code to join Google Meet for us. Okay. But so going back to this here again, 3 announcements. Okay. 3 assignments. So let's do an assignment right now. Okay. So if I go back to classwork, and under my assignments tab, and I'll show you where this tagging part comes in. So let's go create an assignment. You could do a quiz assignment, and that's pretty much how I set up our quizzes. The thing about a quiz assignment is when you do it, it automatically creates a Google form for you to use. And I have my own quizzes already made, so it's not a big deal. You can just delete it and then add your own quiz. But so assignments and quiz assignments and actually these first three, all three of these, you can assign due dates and due times. Okay. For the rest of things, you can't. So if you're going to have a quiz on a certain day at a certain time, and you want your students to know that, then you should add a date and time that goes with it. And the reason that you do that is because it shows up in their Google Calendar. It shows up in the stream. Remember right here, actually, let's just create one first. Okay, so we'll go create an assignment. And just for our purposes, you are going to need to come up with actual real assignments for your grade, topic, subject. For quick, expedient, Brad demo, we're going to put assignment 1. Okay, I'm just going to say here under description, please complete all questions and submit. Okay, and so then of course there's some things here you can, if you want, you can use the bold tool or whatever you want to do. It's up to you. Okay, now in our class, because you only have one class, or actually, I have 2. You can assign this to multiple classes. So for example, in our class, if I were to create an assignment, I can assign it to any one of these classes, right? So if you were teaching social 7, section 1, section 2, section 3, section 4, and it's all the same assignment for all 4 classes, you just go click, 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 and it makes it for all the ones. You don't have to do the setup 4 separate times. Okay, so that's really nice and handy for that. The other thing that you can do, and I'll have to do it in our real class, is you can assign it to individual students. Where might that be handy? We learned about this maybe 2 or 3 or 4 weeks ago. Where think HyperDocs. There we go. Nice. Yes. This is a great way to do differentiated instruction. So just think door number 1, door number 2, door number 3, easy, medium, hard, right? So I'm going to make an easy assignment, and I'm going to assign it just to those people. And then, so it's assigned to 4 students. And then I can work all my other magic down here. But those students will get the easy assignment. Then with my medium assignment, you'd come back in here, and you could assign it to individual students again. Okay, so it's really nice to be able to do that for differentiation and inclusion types of ideas. Okay, and then so that's there. Category, now because I made the categories in my grade book, and remember how I did that? We went to the gear and we signed those grade categories. So this is going to be an assignment. And in the checklist, it says you cannot have any assignments that are 100. So I don't care, what mark you do, just change it from 100. Okay. The due date. Well, here's where we're going to say it's due, I don't know, let's say next week at, I'm not sure why mine's on 24-hour clock, but it's on 24-hour clock. So this is 1 minute before midnight. Okay. And then here's where in the checklist it said about tagging. This is how you tag it. Where are you going to put it? It's going to go under assignments. If you don't put it under one of these, it just kind of hangs out in no man's land, or no person's land. And it doesn't really belong to anything. So I'm going to put it in assignments. And then before you click assign, just so you know that you can immediately assign it, I can schedule this. Let's say I don't have these students till tomorrow. I can schedule it for tomorrow at, just like I do for this class, for our real class, tomorrow at 12:55 p.m. because I meet them at 1, right? Or you can save it as a draft. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm for realsies going to assign this to them. Okay. And then there you can see assignment 1. Now, if we go back to the stream, in this tile, what will happen is work that is coming up appears in this tile. Now, I might have put that a little too far out as far as because this is that tile is time sensitive, so it only shows you the most up and coming assignments. Let me just change the due date here, so you can edit and go back. And let's just make that, today is what? The 8th. Oh, that's why. It only shows it up to a week. So let's say I'll make it do not Saturday. I'll make it do Friday. And then I'm going to save that. So then in the stream on that tile, it'll show you what assignments are coming up within a week only. If anything outside 7 days, it doesn't show up till it's within that week. Okay. And then of course, don't forget in Google Calendar, it shows up right here. Oh, somewhere. Oh yeah, it's due at midnight, remember? Way down here. So let me just edit that assignment one more time. It's edit and it's due at what's 3? Let's go 1500. And then I'll save. We go back to my Google Calendar here. There it is. It's under at 3 o'clock. So again, students have no reason to not be able to say I didn't know or whatever, because it's not only is it in Google Classroom, but this also gets sent to their email. It's also in their calendar, and it's also on the very first page where they land under in the stream. So so that's assignments. Let's go back to the checklist for a second. So three assignments. You decide the date, the due dates and due times. You also can decide whatever point value you want, as long as you don't leave it at default at 100. Also, just like in the brain lesson plan in the HyperDoc, if you are including assignments, they either have to be assignment that you can find on the web and you can use that, or if you can't find it, then you got to make it. And then the third one that someone is probably going to ask is, can we use stuff that we've already made for this class, Brad? 100% yes. Okay. So if you've already made an assignment or you already found an assignment and you want to reuse that assignment, knock yourself out, go ahead and do that. Okay. So you can see here where it says they must link to an actual assignment. Okay. All right. Then you need to grade and return those assignments. So here's where the funny story piece comes in. Okay. So now I don't have any students. It's okay. I'll show you in our class. So let me just close this up. This is actually not our class. Let's go to our class. There we go. I'm going to go to classwork, and I'm going to go to Google Classroom as a teacher, and I'm just going to say start assigning marks. 25 out of 105. Okay. So now you all know about private comments because many of us have exchanged private comments before, and this is great. So I'm just going to assign some more marks: 58, 74, 49, 102. Okay, let's say that's the whole class. Now I click return, and I go return. It'll give me a list of this. Now here's what I'm going to do. I'm a little ticked off at Chloe, so I'm going to say, Chloe, you did a and of course you can never say this to a child, horrible job on this assignment. You should be ashamed of yourself. Okay. And I click return. Guess what happens? It goes to all those students. So when you're giving private comments, the place to give a private comment is when you're clicked on the student and the private comment window's there. Okay. If you do it the other way, like I said, whatever you type down here, everybody gets. So anyhow, funny story. Oh, I can't remember, a few terms ago, one of the girls in my class, her husband was a student and he thought he'd be funny. And in a private comment, he typed, or she typed, a kind of sexy comment, which I saw. Anyways, it didn't bother me, but when I said, you know what, you got to be really careful with private comments, so-and-so, because, you know, people can see these. My God, she was mortified. So she was so embarrassed. And I'm sure her husband got hell that night too for doing that. But so, like I said, the moral of the story is just if it's a private comment, just click on the student's name and give them a private comment that way, because otherwise the whole class gets that. And I've made that mistake a couple of times, nothing horrible, like, reprimanding a student for something, and not that kind of stuff. But it could be just a general comment that I meant for Chloe, saying, please watch your spelling mistakes. But I sent that out to everybody, sometimes, accidentally. So just be careful. All right, let's go back to checklist for a second. So we've got that private comment. So you got to have a private comment for at least three things or three assignments, and make sure that I'm one of them, so I can see that you know how to do that. Okay. So then you need to post 3 resources as material. So just as a reminder, so let's say this is assignment 1, and I'm just going to go edit here again. You can either, you could post I like to post the resources right in here using those buttons, because it's kind of one-stop shopping then. But you can also go material, and I'll just say this is just a assignment 1 reading. Okay. And just like you do when you submit an assignment, I can grab it from my Google Drive, right? I can upload it from my computer. I can link to something. It can be a YouTube video, or I can click the plus sign and create a brand new thing. Okay. So if I don't even know if I have anything in this account to add. Let's see. I'll try that. Okay. So there's that. And then, so that would be, I don't know, an article for them to read. And of course, I want, again, tag it or put it in the right topic. So that's under assignments. And then same idea, you can do post, schedule, draft. I'm just going to post it just so you can see what it looks like. And then again, you can drag that around if you want, for maybe they do the reading first, then the assignment, or however you want to organize that. But that then there, so you can see that the icon is different. This one kind of looks like a clipboard, and this one kind of looks like a bookmark. And so again, material is just that. It's PDFs, it's articles, it's links to articles, it's pictures, diagrams, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. All right. If we go back here, but three resources as material. Again, they must link to an actual thing. 3 questions. Okay. Questions are kind of interesting. You've probably noticed that I don't use questions. I don't know why I don't. Now, questions can be put anywhere. They can also be put in the stream. Okay. We'll do one in classwork though. So let's go create a question. Now, what you're going to find with questions is once you start making, you have to make 3. So basically everything in here, everything for this assignment is in 3s. What you're going to find out is that this is a Google form, just in a different form. Okay. So here, I'm just going to do something simple like, what day is Easter on? Okay. And so you get 2 choices. You get either a short answer or multiple choice. Now, before I'm going to go with multiple choice, by the way. So you can see it is just like a Google form. I'm just going to go with Monday, right? Tuesday, and of course, I'll just put in Wednesday. All right. Whoops. Okay. So that is a question that you can ask. Now, in the checklist, it says right here that your questions need to be 3 different different levels of Bloom's taxonomy. So really what I want you to just think about is this. Is it lots or hots? Now, if I was asking this question, is this a lower order question or a higher order question? Somebody tell me. Lower. Of course it is, right? It's right under there, remember, kind of right at the very bottom of the pyramid, right? So that's one form of Bloom's. The only other choice you have is short answer. So make a question that says, that's a higher order thinking. Should Easter be celebrated, by non-Christian people? That's a whole ball of wax in itself, right? But that would obviously be a higher order question. So on the checklist where it says you need to use different levels of Bloom's, just mix it up like that. Ask a couple multiple choice, easy to answer ones, and ask a short answer one that takes a little bit more brain power, and you can check that box. Okay. All right. Now, same idea. You can add anything down here that you want. Also, course, you can assign it to classes. You can assign it to different students. What category is this going to be? I'm just going to go with assignments again. Okay. And in the checklist, it says that the question needs to be ungraded or unmarked. Okay. And I think it says ungraded. Where does that say that? Oh yeah, right here. I'm just going to put unmarked because Google changed the word. Okay, so no mark assigned for the question. I just want to know, get an answer for them. Assign a due date. Again, today is the 8th, and it's going to be due at 15:03. Oh, no. I see what they want me to do here. 15:03, which is just, if you don't know the 24-hour clock, it's just 3:03. And the topic, because it's ungraded, it doesn't really need a topic, but I'm going to put it under assignments. It will, if it's unmarked, it doesn't count for or against them, so it doesn't really matter. And then same idea up here. Are you going to ask right now, or are you going to schedule it or save it as a draft for now? I'll just ask right now for our purposes. So then you can see here is it's got a little question mark. So there is, the different kind of icons that you can encounter there. Okay, let's go back to the checklist for a second. Create an assignment or announcement, or okay. And you need one that to save as a draft. Now, because I'm going to be a student in your class, I can't see the draft. Okay, but I'll just show you how it's done, and it'll just be on the honor system. I'll just give you the mark for it. But let's go to the stream, and let's say I'm going to create an announcement that says for March 22nd, please bring your skates. Okay. And so then what I want you to do, or what you can do here again with that little split button, is we can just save it as a draft. Okay. When you save it as a draft, you can see it's just up here. It's like I said, and if this was in the class work area, this is kind of the no man's land of the stream. If you did it in class work, it would just be above assignments here in its own spot. Okay, so that is the save it as a draft one, and then you need to send an email to all students notifying them that there's no class on Friday because there's a PD day. Okay, how you do that, I'll have to do it in our class again, is you got to go to, so once you have all your students in your class, you need to go to people, and then you would select, you can either select them manually, or you can just click this button that grabs everybody. Okay, and then under this button here, you just go email, and you just send, so all those other people. So if you really didn't want to send it to everybody in your class, because it might be your mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, just send it to me if you want, or you can send it to everybody. But so that's how you send an email to everybody in your class about the PD day. Now, on this assignment, there is also a wow factor that is completely discretionary and subjective for people that go above and beyond. So in the past, here's as the teacher, here's what I will get from, and this goes for any really assignment. I will get people who just check the boxes and say, okay, I've done the bare minimum. But in the past, I've had students who have actually created it, and because they thought this is a great assignment, I'm going to actually do this, and they've created a whole classroom for social studies or whatever. Those people deserve a little bit more. So that's where the wow mark comes in. If you just do the basic, you will get 95 marks if you get everything correct. If you wow me and get all 10 marks, then you'll get 105. Okay, and you're going to see there's a few assignments coming up like in our future, and a couple in the past that had wow marks on them as well. And that's my reasoning behind that. Okay, now in our Google Classroom, this is due. Hold on, check. That is due March, not 8th, March 15th at 11:09 a.m. Get rid of a couple things in there. Put that in there. So hold on for one second there, Kaylee. And so this is due next week at noon. I think everything else is good. Kaylee, go ahead maybe you'll jog my mind if there's anything else.
Sorry, you did mention, sorry, just let me open this up real quick. So you did mention that we can use assignments that we have made, right? So
Correct.
for those assignments that we have made, let's say we made our classroom for like Science 7, but the assignment we made was for Math 10. Should we change up the assignment to fit the requirements? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
just
because in
wanted
the real world, you wouldn't post a math assignment in your social class, right?
Well, yeah, I just wanted to double check
No, fair
because,
enough.
and then if we use an assignment we find online, we properly credit and we like.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, so you're gonna for an online one, there's kind of two things that are could occur. One is you're just gonna use the link and link to it by posting in the link to it, or you can download it, put it in your Google Drive, or put it on your computer and you can upload it. Okay, using either one of those buttons. So that's sort of one or the other way that you're going to be able to do that. Okay, there you go. Is that okay, Kaylee?
Yep. Sorry.
Oh, okay, thank you. And then Ron, absolutely not. No. I have 120 of these classes to go through, so I am not doing all of your assignments. If there's a cute one or something in there, sometimes I'll do it. But otherwise, nope. I just look to see that you've got the stuff in the checklist, and then I just go from there. Okay. So yes, but I do every once in a while. Somebody will throw a cute little quiz or a cute little Google form in there, and I will do it. But other than that, I don't typically do those. But please feel free to give me good marks on all my assignments that I don't do. Connor.
What kind of how complex of an assignment are you looking for? Like, is saying like, hey, go outside and find these 3 types of plants and like make a drawing of them. Is that the kind of assignment you want, or do you want?
Fine, you bet. Really, Connor, essentially, it's not really about the assignment. It's about you showing me that, okay, I've made an assignment. Now, how do I get it in Google Classroom so my students can actually access it? That's the part that I'm looking for. Is
Okay,
that I know you can do a Google Doc and you can make whatever, but can you actually get that Google Doc then into Google Classroom so kids can access it? That's the real thing where you're getting the mark for, is that I see it in Google Classroom. Okay.
All right. Cheers.
Yeah. Anyone else? Okay. Wow. So that took a long time to explain. It's really not that complex of an assignment. An assignment to do. At least I don't think it is. And of course, if you have any problems with it, don't hesitate to give me a holler. Also, look, days today. If you don't see that I've accepted your invitation to the class in the next, let's say by Friday, then you need to gently remind me in Remind or send me an email saying, hey, Brad, could you please accept my invitation? Sometimes I forget, and sometimes I get doing other things. And just like you, I've got a busy, schedule, and sometimes it just slips my mind. Plus, this is an account I don't look at every single day. It doesn't come up to me and go, oh, there's all my stuff. I have to specially log into it and all that jazz. So, like I said, if I haven't accepted your invite by Friday, give me a gentle nudge to get my act together. Okay. All right. Any other questions? We're going to switch gears here. Any other questions? No? We're good? All right. Okay. So I'm just going to minimize that just in case I need to come back to it. So if I go here, check mark for Google Classroom as a teacher. Let's talk about the FNMI Slideshow. Okay. So if we then scooch on up to, I haven't released it to you folks yet. Let me just do that real quick. So again, this is stuff you're going to do as a teacher for yourself, right? Like it's all ready to go. The only thing I haven't done is I haven't assigned it and haven't given it a due date yet. So I will just say that it is due. Let's make it Google Class. This is a simple assignment. So I'm just going to make it a week, and then 11:59 a.m. Right? And it is worth 32 points. and it's under my category of assignments. And of course, I don't need to assign, it's in all my other classes already, so I don't need to do that. And then there's my instructions. There is the actual template, and I'm just going to assign it to you. Okay. And then the other thing I need to release to you are these FNMI readings. And so this FNMI this whole FNMI little assignment here is really in sort of an effort from me to help you get some things under TQS number 5 in your portfolio. Okay, so at least a start. So anything in readings and resources that you come across and you're like, oh man, I wouldn't mind using that in my portfolio, knock yourself out and go ahead and use it. Okay. There's also this Google document that I've sort of curated or aggregated. And in that Google Doc is lots of resources that you can check out on First Nations stuff. Okay, so again, feel free to use that or to use parts of it or any parts of it. It's up to you. This is not an exhaustive list. This is not every single FNMI resource out there, but it is some stuff. Okay, and also you can just do a general Google search for First Nations resources for teachers, and there is loads and loads of stuff out there. Okay, so the assignment itself then, let me just close that out. I'm going to leave that open too. All right, so the assignment is super simple. This is a hyperdoc in the form of a slideshow. Okay, so I'm just going to open it up, and please go ahead and do this as well. Okay, and all you're going to do then is you're going to make a copy of this. So you're going to go File, make a copy, and it's going to ask you the entire presentation or selected slides, go entire presentation. So there's two things that are going to happen here. One is you are going to complete this hyperdoc as a student. So really this is for probably around grade 4, grade 5-ish. And I borrowed this. I did not make this, but I borrowed it like any good teacher does. And you're going to complete it. Okay, so I'm just going to make a copy of, and I'm just going to get rid of a copy of First Nations. I don't even need that. Hyperdoc, and I'm just going to go, again, I'm just going to add in the section Z kind of thing in there. And I'm going to throw it in my drive right there. Okay. There we go. All right, so I'm making a copy, and you should too. And just make sure you know where to find it. And I'm going to throw it under my start items too. Okay. So what you're going to do with this, first, before I say this, these two items on the right-hand side, you can see I put in big red letters there, optional. You do not have to do them. If you choose to do either one of them, I will consider that for kind of like bonus marks on the side. Okay. But you don't have to do that. Like this beating one will take you a long time to do. So you don't have to do that. And again, here's some, create a poster. If you want, knock yourself out. It'll be a great resource for you to use in your e-portfolio if you want, but you don't. They're optional. There's no lost marks for not doing them. But you do need to do these four over here on the left-hand and center. Okay. Now, when you click these links, now, if I'm in slideshow mode, it works better. If I click that, it will take me out to this memory game at the Government of Canada website. Now, here's what many of us are going to encounter is you don't have Flash Player on there. Okay. Now, Flash is not supported for basically some security reasons and some it's old kind of thing. So anyways, if you don't have Flash or it doesn't work in your browser, you can still play because you can click that link and there's a printable or a PDF version of it. And you can, I don't know, play around with it. Okay. And that goes for actually all of these things. If there's any of this that is not available, it's just going to work. I haven't clicked on these since last term. So, okay. So there's the video and then, oopsie. Let me just escape for a second. There's the video. And then each one of these has their own little answer section here. Okay. So, there's the video for the where you click for your answers to do the video. Here is this one here is just a read and listen. So what we're really doing here is just, this is a social studies project, but we're also doing reading, speaking, listening, viewing, and I'm missing what? Presenting, maybe? And we're doing many of the strands for language arts as well. Okay. So same idea, some stuff for you to check out here, and then you answer the questions in the corresponding thing. And that goes, again, for these 4 things only, and it's the same thing for all of them. And again, if you come across the Flash Player issue, there's like an alternative version. So what you're going to hand in for this assignment, there's no rubric or anything for this assignment, but you're just going to hand in your completed version or copy of this HyperDoc. Now, the other thing you can do if you want is, so you went file and made a copy of your own version. If you want to go file and make a copy of the template version that is in Google Classroom, if you want to keep it for your own purpose or resources, and you're going to teach grade 4 or 5-ish, you'll be able to use this. Okay. So, and then that's a resource that you have already tucked away you can use in the future. And if you don't make a copy for your own purposes, that's okay. You only need to make a copy for me. All right. Questions? That's all there is to say about that one. Okay. It won't take you very long. Okay. No questions? All right. So that then leads us to the last thing on my agenda, is to do some notes on graphic organizers. Now, I just want to see something here. Oh yeah, we'll easily about this. Okay. Now, question for all of you. Can you think of a reason, and maybe you can't think of a reason. Let me just show you here. I'll just give you an example of the world's simplest graphic organizer. I'm teaching a class today on parts of the body. Okay. Here's a graphic organizer. Right. Label the parts of the body. Okay. That's all. We've all done label the parts of a cell, label the parts of a leaf, and on and on. You can think of probably dozens of ones that you've done like this. Okay. So, but you can use graphic organizers for things like note taking. So, for example, instead of today, and you may thank me, a round of applause would be nice. Instead of writing all of the notes down that I would normally make you write, I'm going to give them to you in the form of a graphic organizer that's a fill in the blank. Yes, you're welcome. Yay, Brad. Woohoo. Okay. All right. So let me just grab the link for that graphic organizer. And again, in an inclusive, differentiated, thank you, Graham, type of class, you may not give this to all students. You may only give it to some students. Okay, so it just depends. Now, there's lots of notes here. So, I mean, if I was giving this to kids, I'd give it to everybody. It just wouldn't be fair to not give it to all the students. So there's a link there. So this is the, I'm just going to go graphic organizer notes. Okay, and here's the link. All right, somebody tell me if you get a page that, oh, I can see a bunch of faces popping up. If you get a page that looks like that, some people tell me yes or no. Yep. Perfect. Okay, yay. All right. Okay, so all you got to do is fill in the blanks. So I'm going to give you basically like the answers, if you want to call it that, and we're going to fill it out together. Now, of course, if this was, and I won't do this to you because you're all so shy. If this was a K-12 classroom, I would probably get students to read these out, right? To just, get kids involved a little bit more, that kind of idea. So, but here we go. So this is like, if you've ever done a Mad Lib, did you know what Mad Libs are? Did you ever do them in your K-12? Few of you? Okay, that's enough to say yes. Anyways, this is like a Mad Lib, okay, in a way, okay? So if you're not sure what a Mad Lib is, just Google it and you'll see it. Actually, here, I'll show you here in a sec here. If you want, at your own leisure, this is a really funny, I think this is off of Jimmy Fallon, a Mad Lib theater with Chris Pratt. And so they fill in the Mad Lib and then they have to act it out. It's really quite funny. So anyhow, just another crazy thing that Jimmy Fallon does. All right. So A blank blank is a tool that shares information, explains a concept, or illustrates a relationship using elements including images, shapes, text, colors, and connecting lines. Well, the first answer is graphic organizer. So type in graphic organizer in there. So a graphic organizer is a tool that allows you to do that. Okay. So kind of similar to, in a way, some of the same elements as a infographic kind of idea, right? Okay. Second one down. A graphic organizer is a visual tool that can help students find relationships between ideas, create links between facts and concepts, and help generate ideas. Because this, my friends, is also a form of a graphic organizer. That's supposed to be a circle, like a mind map, right? So a mind map is also a form of graphic organizer. Okay. All right. So graphic organizers, or they in this case, check where's my mouse arrow, are sometimes referred to as concept webs, mind maps, idea maps, flow charts. Another one that we're all very familiar with, a graphic organizer. You actually had to do this one in the slideshow thing, a Venn diagram. So the last one on there is Venn diagrams and more. So that sentence goes, or the notes go, they are sometimes referred to as concept maps or webs, sorry, mind maps, idea maps, flow charts, Venn diagrams, and more. So really, like when I say they're very closely linked, if not, they're like kind of cousins to infographics. Okay. All right. The next one down, graphic organizers can be used in education with any age group or subject area. So that's this one right here, subject area. Okay. All right. Okay. The next little part here is, well, my notes are just a tiny bit different of yours, but on yours it says benefits of graphic organizers can include the following things. Okay. So help students plan and structure projects. So again, a flow chart, a mind map, a concept map, some way for them, even just a basic outline for a story can be a form of a graphic organizer, right? So again, for us, I mean, it could, where's my mouse arrow? There we go. If I just make a new page, right? It could be, right? And you could start helping them, create an outline for a story or something like that. That's just a graphic organizer. Okay. All right. So helps students with brainstorming. That's this one, brainstorming. Right. Again, just generating ideas. It could help the whole class too, right? Like everybody in the class. It helps students examine relationships between concepts. And slow me down or tell me to if you need anything else, don't be afraid to say, stop, Brad. Okay. It helps students organize concepts and ideas. So this one's organize. This next one down, it helps students determine cause and effect. And this last one here is it helps students make connections. And that's on the left-hand side, the last one. Help students make connections. Okay. Again, if they can see it often, if they can't figure it out verbally, drawing a picture or getting it down on paper can help kids solve problems, right? All right. This one is it increases student reading comprehension. Okay. Okay. This one is it helps students break apart a story into its main elements or parts. You can use whichever word you want there. So main parts or main elements. All right. So graphic organizers are good for students who are visual and logical thinkers. So this one's visual and this one's logical. Okay. it provides another option for communication, right? It's a way to get out our ideas or what we know, show what you know. This is a great show what you know kind of idea, okay? So it provides another option for communication. The second to last one is it helps determine student understanding of concepts and relationships. So concepts and relationships. Okay, and the last one here is it helps make students or helps students make decisions. Okay. And I want to add, actually, you know what? I want to add one more here. And I'm going to just paste that one in from here. I have a longer list than you have. That is Lifesavers 14. Okay, hold on for one sec here. I'm just going to Lifesavers 14. There we go. And it doesn't need to be bold. Okay, so the other thing that it does is it helps students break complex tasks into manageable chunks. Okay, so break down complex tasks into manageable chunks. It goes with our content chunking. Everybody good? All right. If we scooch on down here, graphic organizers have long been used to aid students with learning disabilities. So learning disabilities. That may not be the best word, but it is the word we're going to use. Okay. You can put challenges if you want down in there. Okay. So graphic organizers have long been used to aid students with learning disabilities, and research has shown their efficacy, right? Or their validity kind of idea. Okay. All right. And that's actually a quote. So, okay. Graphic organizers can be an effective tool for differentiation. Here's a spelling test. Differentiation, as they help to remove any barriers to learning to give every student the opportunity for success. So again, they're effective tool for differentiation as they help remove any barriers. Okay. So again, if you think of this, that's a lot of writing you could make students do. This helps break it down and makes it more manageable, right? All right. Graphic organizers help reduce this is that word we've used a few times, cognitive demands on the learner, right? Just like graphic or infographics, they help students with the cognitive part of understanding what's on, that concept or whatever the infographics trying to get across, right? So graphic organizers can help reduce the cognitive demands on the learner. All right. Graphic organizers help students engage in a variety of analytical, critical, creative thinking, and problem-solving activities to further develop cognitive skills. Okay, and again, we're thinking higher order, lower order, right? So cognitive skills. We good? All right. There are 3 compelling reasons why you should use graphic organizers. First, students are considerably more likely to understand and remember the content subject you are teaching. And if you wanted, you could highlight those and you could go, right? Those are remember and understand are the 2 bad boys at the bottom of Bloom's taxonomy. Okay. You don't have to put that comment in there if you don't want to, but just as a little aside. Okay. All right. Second compelling reason is because now this is a funny word here. I'll put it in here. Semantic. So because the semantic information processing demands are reduced. so semantic dealing with writing and language and, that kind of idea, and the words, right? Semantic. So second, because the semantic information processing demands are reduced, you can often address the content at a more sophisticated and complex level. This is especially true for many students with learning disabilities. Now, why is that? Why is it able to do that? Because they're not focused on just scrambling to write down the notes as fast as they possibly can. Basically, they're there. So they have more time to think and take in the stuff that you're trying to get across to them, without worrying just about, I just got to get the notes down. I don't even care really what he's saying. I'm just going to write down the words, right? This helps reduce that cognitive demand. Okay. All right. Especially true for many students with learning disabilities. Showing right here, as opposed to just telling how the information is structured, can be a powerful way to facilitate understanding. So this word, right, this one here in the blue, the word is showing. Okay. And again, if you think about Madeline Hunter's steps of Madeline Hunter's methodology, showing is one part of that. Okay. And if I was going to say showing, what part of Hunter's 9 steps would that be? What if I give you a hint and said it would be number 4? Would that help anybody? No? How about if I said it would, there we go, Graham. Yes, right? Showing is modeling or demonstrating, right? So showing, is again, this is sort of, again, remember, the whole idea is to take all these different puzzle pieces that Brad's presenting and put them all so that we get, a firm picture of teaching and learning, using technology by the end of the course. So that's how it links, it has a link back to something that we've previously learned. And again, remember, that's called scaffolding as well. Okay. Okay. Thirdly, the third compelling reason is students are more likely to become strategic learners. Okay. So again, other than just furiously writing notes, words after word after word, and just all I'm focusing on is getting these notes done so I don't get behind because McDermott yells at us when we don't write fast enough or whatever. It gives that student a little bit more time, or students a little bit more time, to actually think about what we're trying to, what we're talking about here. Okay. So third, students are more likely to become strategic learners. Reading, writing, communication skills, and analytical, critical, and creative thinking skills are all subject to improvement when students learn to recognize these patterns of thinking. Okay, so I'm going to read that whole thing again. Thirdly, students are more likely to become strategic learners. Reading, writing, blah, 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 communication, analytical, critical, and creative thinking are subject to improvement when students learn to recognize these patterns of thinking, construction, and use of graphic organizers. Okay. All right. There's an extensive body of research that supports the use of a variety of different kinds of graphic organizers. And again, you've probably used dozens of different ones through your K-12, and maybe here even at the post-secondary level. Okay. All right. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty here. Let me just scroll my notes here. Graphic organizers allow for dual presentation. Okay. Or actually, sorry, that should be representation. My bad. Representation. Okay. Dual representation, which means visual presentation accompanied by auditory explanation, kind of like what we're doing right now. Okay. Which is considerably more powerful than either one of those types of approaches by themselves. So again, the more sort of the senses that, again, think of our 3 learning modalities. There's visual, auditory. The only one that's missing out of there is kinesthetic, right? So again, that loops back to previous learning that we've learned in this class. So graphic organizers allow for dual representation, which is considerably more powerful than either approach alone. Okay. All right. Graphic organizers can be effective when used in conjunction with a wide array of teaching styles. Okay. When teaching a wide array of subjects and when developing literacy and cognitive skills of students. So one more time, graphic organizers can be effective when used in conjunction with a wide array of teaching styles. The other word you could use in there is instructional strategies, right? When teaching a wide array of subjects and when developing literacy and cognitive skills in students, okay? And again, just because there's not such a focus from the student on just getting the information down, right? Okay, when should you use a graphic organizer? Well, if you think of your content instruction, okay, right? So again, direct teaching, content instruction. One of the three things that we can differentiate is our content instruction or content delivery. As having a beginning, middle, and end, graphic organizers can be used during any of these segments. So at the beginning, during the middle of your lesson, or at the end. So thinking of anticipatory set or the closure of your lesson, or if you're using the brain lesson plan template, any of the segments, the chunks and chews in the middle of that, right? So again, tying back to previous learning. Okay. All right. So for example, they, meaning graphic organizers, can be used to facilitate students' activation of background knowledge. Okay. Important because we want to know what they know, because if they know, I don't know, pick a concept, pick single digit by single digit addition. If they already know that, why am I going to waste time on that? Valuable time when I could be going on to 2 digit by 2 digit addition or 2 digit by 1 digit addition. So again, so it activates, students' background knowledge and to create anticipation for the future learning at the beginning of a unit or a specific lesson. Okay, because no matter what you're teaching, kids will have some type of background knowledge of it. It may not be very deep, but they may have some, for example, thinking of grade 6 sky science. Kids may not know a ton about what's going on up there, but they know there's stars, they know there's a moon, they know there's the sun, they know there's planets and maybe galaxies and who else, but again, every kid will know a little bit more or a little bit less about what's up there above us, right? So that's kind of what they're getting at here. So they, again, meaning graphic organizers, can be used as the new content is being explored. They can also be effective ways to facilitate the review of previously taught materials. Okay, so they can be used at the beginning or at the end, right? Finding out what they know or what they still need to be maybe reviewed or retaught, towards the end of a lesson or at the end of a unit. Okay. All right. Before using any graphic organizer, ask yourself, what is the goal of the task? What is the goal of the task? Okay. And how will a graphic organizer help students reach the goal? Graphic organizer. So what is the goal of the task and how will a graphic organizer help students reach the goal? Are we good? Does anybody need any of those blanks refilled? Now, is that not the best set of notes you've ever had?